From the Jazzkeller in Frankfurt, Melanie Keith, the great Keith Copeland, sitting here next to me. And he's going to tell me today, because I asked him to tell me about your time with Hank Jones. You did play with Hank Jones for some time,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't do a lot of recording with Hank Jones. I think the only record is a record called Lazy Afternoon, which was done for Concord Records, Carl Jefferson. But during the 5 or 6 years, a lot of great experiences with Hank. Because I was always the drummer, but it was always different bass players in different formations. And as I said on the other day, we had a band where Milt Jackson came and played one night with us in Holland, and Red Holloway was on saxophone, and Ray Drummond, and myself, and Hank. And then other times, there'd be different bass players. Dave Holland playing bass on a few gigs when we went out to Idaho to play for the Lionel Hampton Jazz Festival in Moscow, Idaho. And a lot of different situations. So I really had to focus on Hank and focus on how these different bass players played to make it work with Hank.
Of course, yeah.
But it was interesting, and Hank was really rough. Another guy that, when he brought in music, whether it was for a recording or just to learn some new music for the gig, he'd bring the music into the rehearsal, and you only got a chance to look at it one time, because Hank was a legendary sight reader. He could read anything the first time down. He had been playing on CBS staff for something like 25, 30 years, so he was used to sight reading.
Okay.
So he'd bring in a piece of music, and you'd run it down one time, and then he'd say, okay, you can turn that over. That means we're not going to play that anymore.
Well, he knew it.
He knew it. You better hope that you knew it, because if you didn't, you'd find out on the gig that you didn't know it.
Okay.
He was a funny guy that way. But that was good discipline for me, because I knew if I was working with him, I had to learn it fast.
Okay, yeah.
You know. And it was a lot of good formations. There was one gig we did at the Fat Tuesdays in New York, and he asked me to get him a band. A lot of times I've been playing with him so long, he just asked me to get the band, who I thought would work, and whatever instrumentation he wanted. And there was a band, a very interesting band, that we put together with Johnny Coles on trumpet, Clifford Jordan on saxophone, myself on drums, Hank, and a young German bass player who he didn't know named Johannes Wiedenmüller, who was from, if I'm not mistaken, I think Johannes was from Cologne. And he just said, make sure he knows some tunes and that he can read. And Johannes came in, did a good job. Hank liked him so much, he took us up to Toronto to play for a week in the club.
Okay.
Just trio, Johannes and me and Hank. And then one of the most famous situations where I had to get a band, challenging situations for him to get a band, was we had a week just before I came to Germany to teach. We had a week, and I had just had some carpal tunnel surgery on my hand because my hand was falling asleep. And they had to cut me here to go in and trim some tissue off my vein here, so that because that was what was causing my hand to go to sleep.
Okay.
And but I had pretty much recovered from it, and we had a week in the Blue Note in New York, very famous club now, and it was a week opposite his brother Elvin and his band. And I remember Hank told me, he said, listen, they want me to come in here and play in a trio opposite my brother. He said, but I don't want to do that. I want to have a strong band. I don't want to come in here and play no trio opposite my brother. Because what I found out later was him and his brother hadn't spoken in 6 or 7 years.
Wow, that's...
Because Elvin's wife, Keiko, was like putting a big roadblock in between Elvin and Hank and didn't want to keep them, wanted to keep them apart. Mm-hmm. Don't know why. And Hank was coming in, Elvin was coming in with a strong man. He was coming in with Chip Jackson on bass and Ravi Coltrane on saxophone and Sonny Fortune on saxophone.
Okay.
And trying to think who else was in Elvin's band. Forgot the piano player's name. I can't remember the piano, but it was a good piano player, a strong piano player. And Hank said, listen, I want you to get me a band. I don't want it to be a quintet. I don't care what the instrumentation is. I want it to be a quintet with good players. He said, because I don't want to be sitting up here trying to play no trio opposite my brother. That's why I got you. Because I don't want to hire no boy to do no man's job playing drums opposite my brother. I said, I got to play opposite Elvin for 14 sets, and you telling me you don't want to hire no boy to do a man's job? I'm a boy compared to Elvin.
Oh.
He said, I don't want to hire no boy to do no man's job. So not only do you have to play strong, you got to hire me a strong band. So I got him a good band. I got